So in theory, you have the end of your video, right? And you want to sting out, ring out, whatever you want to call it, the end of your music. I blurred the name of this person I work with here to protect the innocent. So something to think about is a way to make this sting out, I don't know, a little more dramatic, a little bigger in some ways. So one really cheap, fast, quick way to do it would be to just double up the music and maybe move it 1 or 2 frames, maybe 4 frames, something like that. Play around with which one, and you'll get some sort of double. You might get some sort of interesting effect, but probably the better 2 ways to do it would be to first go into Audio Suite and go into, I'll just try D-Verb first, and you're going to play around with this decay slider. Right, so there's definitely some interesting things you can do to get some sort of echo type effect into the sting out. But the other way I would try is this also in Audio Suite, there's something called time compression expansion. And if I open that up, now this ratio right here, if you slide it to the left, you're going to actually speed up your audio. But if you slide it to the right, you're going to slow down your audio. Render that first, and let's hear what happens there. Some other things to think about with the sting out is, let's say you're cutting it somewhere else into the music, right, where it's not the natural ending. So how are you going to mask this cut? So there's a couple different ways to think about with masking cuts. Number one is you can use a dissolve. Don't be afraid to dissolve audio, even with music, you know. As long as the audience, the viewer doesn't hear the dissolve, there's really not a problem with it. Another way to mask this cut might be with a sound effect. Not perfect, obviously, but I just want to show you that idea. You definitely use sound effects to mask music cuts, getting to the sting out in a song where otherwise you might not be able to. Something else to think about, and I'm not a super music guy or audiophile type guy, but I do know from music that they're in beats of 8. Right? So in theory, if you're listening to a song and you count to yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's probably a good spot to cut the music. Or if you are too lazy, you need to go out soon to go drinking at happy hour, you might want to think about doing it in 4s. And that will help you not have a horrible music jump cut, which would cause you shame. So the biggest thing I want to say with music sting outs is that sometimes I feel like they're overused. Think about if you have a corporate 5-minute video and it has 5 different sections. Every section doesn't really need a sting out. In theory, that makes too much of a start-stop pull to a video. It makes it feel like a video has 5 endings and it's sort of never ending. I'm sometimes concerned, or I see it in other videos, sometimes people overuse the sting out. Like every single tape piece has to end with a sting out. I don't really believe in that. I think you want to have tape pieces end with a little bit of crescendo, maybe a part of the music that has some sort of like change in beat, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this humongous ending type sting out. It's kind of deflating. So that's one thing I want you to think about, is that you're not overusing sting outs. But one thing I definitely think you can never overuse is beer. So this week I'm talking about a beer from Blue Point, Long Island called Spectral Haze, and they describe the beer as pillowy. So that's why I thought to myself, well, maybe these sting out, with the echo, with the time compression expansion, it could make it sound pillowy. Now that I've used this term, pillowy, I have vowed to never ever use that word in any form or fashion ever again. So go to Avid Beer if you're interested in learning Avid from scratch, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.